Imagine waking in the middle of the night with the vivid sense that you had just lived another entire lifetime. A family, a city, a story unfolding through years. And now here you are, back in your bed, the blanket soft against your skin, the clock unchanged. Could those dreams have been real lives you simply forgot? The image lingers, streets glowing beneath lantern light, voices calling your name in languages you don't recognize, the faint pressure of a hand in yours that you cannot place. You lie in the stillness, the air cool, your breath slow, and a quiet unease stirs into wonder. If every dream is a doorway, then who are you when you step through? And if questions like this stir your mind, subscribe and tell me in the comments whether you believe your dreams are just illusions, or if they might be memories of another life. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath you drift a little deeper into one of the gentlest paradoxes. In 1953, Nathaniel Kleitman and Eugene Aserinsky discovered REM sleep, where eyes move rapidly and vivid dreams arrive. They found this state occupies nearly 2 hours of each night. Imagine that. Every evening you spend hours in worlds as intricate as waking life. The hum of brainwaves fills their lab, the glow of early machines reflecting on glass dials, while outside, the night pressed quiet against the windows. Dreams were not empty. They were full as the minutes you live awake. Philosophers had wondered long before. In the 4th century BCE, Zhuangzi described dreaming he was a butterfly, only to awaken and wonder if he was truly a butterfly dreaming he was a man. The story drifts softly, carrying the same question you may hold tonight when you dream. Do you step into another form, another self, another world as real as this one? The cool air against your cheek feels like proof of this life. But how do you know the warmth of a dream's sun was any less true? Picture this. You walk through a marketplace in a dream. Stalls shimmer with fruit in colors brighter than any you have seen awake. A woman offers you a coin, its weight solid in your palm. You hear the chatter of voices, the creak of carts, the hum of music drifting from somewhere unseen. In that moment you feel anchored, alive, convinced. Yet upon waking, all dissolves. Where did that world go? Was it only memory? Or did you truly leave another life behind? Benjamin Libet's 1983 studies at the University of California showed the readiness potential. Brain activity sparking before conscious choice. To some, this suggested that your awareness may be only a witness, stepping into scenes already prepared. Perhaps dreams too are prepared, lives unfolding, waiting for you to enter, live them fully, and then step back into this bed, this night, this room. You are safe here. Nothing urgent, just rest. As you continue to listen, with each quiet breath you drift a little deeper. A curiosity grows. If your mind can create lifetimes each night, could it also be remembering? Some traditions believed so. The Upanishads spoke of dreams as journeys of the soul, crossing into other realms, visiting other forms. Tibetan texts describe dream yoga, practices to remain lucid, to see dreams as real as waking. In their vision, dream and waking were both corridors in the same endless hall. At 5 minutes into reflection, you arrive at a quiet resolution. Dreams may be more than illusions. Yet whether they are memories of another life or creations of this one, they carry meaning. They show you who you are and who you might be. Perhaps the truth is gentle. Both realities are real. Both dissolve. Both shape you. And as you breathe here in this bed, with the night wrapping around you like a tender cloak, the question opens softly. If you live so many lives each night, then how many selves are you truly? Imagine stepping into a temple long abandoned, its stones worn smooth by centuries of wind. Torches once lit these walls, chants once echoed here, and the air still holds a faint sense of incense, though no fire burns. As you walk slowly across the floor, you notice carvings on the walls, figures lying in repose, eyes closed, surrounded by symbols of stars and rivers. To the ancients, sleep was not emptiness, it was travel. It was another life waiting just beyond the veil. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath you drift a little deeper, into echoes left by civilizations who saw dreams as gateways. In ancient Egypt, priests of the Temple of Serapis practiced dream incubation. Worshippers slept within sacred chambers, waiting for visions that were treated as messages from gods. Imagine lying on cool stone, wrapped in linen, the silence broken only by the drip of water echoing through pillars. In that state, dreams were not illusions. They were destinations. The Greeks shared this vision. In the temple of Asclepius, seekers came to sleep in hopes of healing dreams. Records describe patients waking with detailed visions of cures, later confirmed by physicians. Sleep itself became a bridge between divine wisdom and waking life. Centuries later, Carl Jung reflected on these traditions, noting that dreams often carry archetypes, symbols and figures that feel older than the individual. Perhaps, as Jung suggested, they are voices from the collective unconscious, older than memory, whispering truths you forgot. A short cinematic scene unfolds. You are lying in a chamber carved into stone, the ceiling low, flickering torchlight casting shadows that ripple like water. Outside, the desert night is cool and vast. Inside, your body rests heavy, but your mind drifts through corridors painted with stars. You hear faint chanting from another room, deep voices rising and falling like tides. The moment feels timeless. You are both here and elsewhere. The Vedic tradition, too, spoke of dreams as real journeys. In the Upanishads, it is written that the self wanders freely in dream, touching realms beyond waking sight. The state of deep sleep, sushupti, was seen as communion with pure being, while dreams themselves carried traces of other lives. Imagine lying beneath a canopy of stars in ancient India, the air warm and fragrant with sandalwood, the sound of night, insects humming steadily. The dreamer there believed that what unfolded behind closed eyes was as real as the ground beneath them. Modern science has found echoes of this ancient view. In 2001, Marcus Rachel identified the brain's default mode network, active when the mind is not tied to external tasks. It hums when you daydream, when you recall, when you drift. Perhaps this network is the same corridor ancient mystics sensed, a bridge between lifetimes, weaving memories and imaginations into lived experience. You continue to listen. With each quiet breath, you drift a little deeper, and perhaps you feel your own mind humming now, quiet but alive, holding far more than you recall. An anecdote whispers from Mayan tradition. Their priests recorded dreams carefully, believing they offered glimpses into other layers of existence. Some described meeting ancestors who offered guidance. Archaeologists discovered codices filled with glyphs linking dream imagery to cosmic cycles. Imagine yourself in such a city, stone pyramids rising under a dawn sky, drums echoing faintly, the smell of incense and corn smoke drifting through the air. To dream there was to live another life, no less real than waking. You are safe here. Nothing urgent, just rest. The wisdom of these civilizations does not press. It simply offers, gently, a reminder you are more than one life, and as you reflect, you notice the repeating pattern. Egyptians, Greeks, Vedic sages, Mayan priests, all spoke of dreams as travel, memory, another existence. Modern science now finds networks in the brain that echo their insight. The thread across centuries is clear. As you continue to listen, with each quiet breath, you drift a little deeper. A wonder unfolds. If so many voices, ancient and modern, have hinted that dreams are lives not lost, but lived elsewhere, then perhaps every time you close your eyes, you are not forgetting, but returning. Returning to corridors that civilizations before you already knew, where every dream is a homecoming to another self. Imagine a quiet hillside at dusk, the sky silvered with the first hint of stars. A figure sits beneath a tree, robes gathered softly around them, their breath slow and steady. Crickets hum, and the air carries the faint scent of jasmine. Their eyes are half closed, but within, entire worlds are turning. Mystical teachers across centuries spoke of dreams not as shadows, but as journeys, real lives unfolding in silence. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath you drift a little deeper into the texts and voices that describe dreams as thresholds. The Buddha spoke of illusion and awakening, yet even within that, dreams were teaching fields. In the Dhammapada, he suggested life itself may be like a dream, shifting, vivid, impermanent. If waking is dreamlike, then perhaps dreams themselves are another layer of reality, equally valid, equally alive. In the 13th century, the Sufi mystic Rumi wrote of sleep as a second life. Do not say it was a dream, he warned, for in that state, all things become clear. Imagine hearing those words by lamplight in a courtyard, the air cool, a flute playing softly in the distance. His voice carries a gentleness that tells you not to dismiss what you see behind closed eyes. Modern thinkers echo this. Anil Seth in 2017 described consciousness as a controlled hallucination, a rendering of reality by the brain. If waking life is already a construction, then dreams may be constructions of equal truth. Imagine walking through a library where the books rearrange themselves each time you look. The words shift, yet the meaning remains. Both waking and dreaming could be shelves in the same library of mind. A short cinematic scene unfolds. You are seated in a candlelit study, parchment spread across a wooden table. The candle flame wavers, shadows dancing across the walls. A monk across from you recites from the Upanishads, his voice deep and resonant. In dreams, the self takes many forms, wandering where it wishes, touching what is hidden. The words seem to ripple through the air, You feel the warmth of the candle, the roughness of the table beneath your hand, and a quiet certainty settles. These texts were speaking to something you already know. The Tibetan Bardu Thordal, often called the Book of the Dead, describes dream as practice for the transitions of the soul. In its guidance, to navigate dreams with awareness was to prepare for the vast journeys beyond death. Modern dream research finds echoes here. At Maimonides Medical Center in the 1960s, Dr. Stanley Krippner studied dream telepathy, where one person's imagery appeared in another's dreams. The results suggested that dreams may not be confined within one mind at all. Perhaps they are shared corridors where lives intermingle. You are safe here. Nothing urgent, just rest. The teachings, whether from Rumi, the Upanishads, or modern science, all carry gentleness. They invite you to see dreams not as fragile illusions, but as real passages through existence. Carl Jung read ancient texts and integrated them with his own vision, speaking of archetypes that rise in dreams. He believed these figures, the wise old man, the shadow, the child, were not inventions of one life, but timeless presences shared across humanity. When you dream of a stranger who feels familiar, perhaps you are meeting one of these ageless companions. As you continue to listen, with each quiet breath you drift a little deeper. You might notice how seamlessly these voices blend. Buddha's teachings, Rumi's poetry, the Upanishads, Tibetan guidance, Jung's archetypes, Krippner's experiments, they all turn gently around the same thought. That dreams are not empty stories, but real encounters with layers of life you may forget by morning. A soft anecdote lingers. In the desert, a Sufi student once told his teacher he had dreamed of walking a distant road. The teacher replied, "Perhaps the road dreamed you, and you simply remembered." The student did not argue. He only bowed his head, sensing the quiet truth. The air around you now feels tender, the shadows softening along the walls, the blankets pressing gently against your skin. And as you sink deeper, one wonder unfurls. If timeless teachers and texts all suggest dreams are lives lived fully, whether forgotten or remembered, then perhaps you have never lived only one life. Perhaps each night, when your breath slows and your eyes close, you return to the countless selves that are all already you. Imagine a laboratory in the middle of the night. The lights glow softly, machines hum, and the air feels faintly metallic, tinged with the warmth of wires and quiet energy. A subject lies on a bed, eyes flickering beneath closed lids, electrodes resting against the skin like silver threads. The scientists watch their instruments, yet what they see are not just lines and numbers. They are glimpses into worlds. To modern science, dreams are measurable, charted, recorded, yet what they truly are remains as mysterious as ever. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath, you drift a little deeper into the foundations that shaped our understanding of dreaming. In 1953, Eugene Aserinsky and Nathaniel Klitman discovered rapid eye movement, or REM sleep. They noticed that when the eyes darted beneath closed lids, vivid dreaming was almost always taking place. Imagine them in their lab. The hum of recorders, the soft scratching of pens on paper, and the astonishment of realizing that the mind was traveling even while the body lay still. Later, Michel Jovet in Lyon studied cats in the 1960s, discovering that specific brain regions controlled dream activity. When suppressed, the animals' bodies acted out their dreams, walking, leaping, moving while still asleep. The line between dreaming and waking blurred. Perhaps in those moments, two lives were lived at once, one in the visible lab, another in the invisible corridors of dream. The science deepened. Benjamin Libet in 1983 revealed that brain signals for action occurred before conscious awareness decided to act. If readiness potential precedes choice, then what of dream choices? When you turn down a dream corridor, when you embrace a figure, when you fly, are these decisions, or are they lived sequences already prepared by deeper layers of mind? A short cinematic scene unfolds. You are inside a sleep lab, lying on a bed beneath a dim light. Wires are gently attached to your scalp, the cool gel a slight chill on your skin. Around you, monitors glow green and blue, lines dancing with each breath. You close your eyes, and soon the hum of machines fades. You drift into a dream where you walk along a beach, moonlight silvering the waves. The sound of surf echoes. The sand presses cool against your feet. And even as you sleep, someone else records every flicker of your brain, translating mystery into numbers. Stanislas Dehaene later proposed the global neuronal workspace model, suggesting that consciousness arises when information spreads widely through the brain. Dreams may be the same process turned inward, when external signals dim and inner ones flood the workspace. Giulio Tononi's integrated information theory, proposed in 2004, offers another view that consciousness arises from complexity itself, the integration of countless signals. In this way, your dreams are not less real. They are simply another integration, another self, assembled reality from the same fabric. You are safe here. Nothing urgent, just rest. The hum of machines, the glow of monitors, the studies of scientists, all are gentle reminders that even as we measure, the mystery deepens. Michael Gazzaniga's split. Brain research showed that when hemispheres are separated, each half can create its own version of reality. The brain, it seems, is always weaving narratives, stitching fragments into coherence. Dreams might be that process in its purest form, unanchored by the external world, free to drift. Imagine lying in bed, hearing the faint tick of a clock, and then dreaming of entire centuries unfolding. The tick remains real, but so too does the lifetime that passes behind your eyes. An anecdote rises from early sleep science. In the 1970s, Alan Rechtschaffen observed that rats deprived of sleep eventually died, even when given food and water. Sleep, he concluded, is as essential as breath itself. If dreams accompany sleep so constantly, then perhaps they too are vital. Not illusions, but necessities, lived as deeply as waking hours. As you continue to listen, with each quiet breath you drift a little deeper. You may notice how science, even in its measurements, circles back to mystery. REM discovered, dream labs built, theories woven. All confirm that something vast is happening each night. The brain does not switch off. It lives other lives, stitching scenes, weaving identities, carrying you into worlds that dissolve at dawn but feel eternal in the moment. You are safe here. Everything can soften now. The blankets press gently against you, the air cool on your cheek, the night humming softly outside. And as you drift further into rest, a quiet thought lingers. If science can measure dreams, but not explain why they feel like lives, perhaps that is the point. Dreams may be reminding you that existence itself is more than measurement, that every night you return to lives beyond memory, just as every breath carries you deeper into mystery. Imagine a chalkboard filled with equations, symbols spiraling like constellations across black slate. The chalk squeaks softly, dust rising in the dim light of a lecture hall. A physicist pauses, gazes out the window at drifting clouds, and wonders whether what we call reality is only one layer of many. Revolutions in scientific thought often begin with such moments. A hush, a question, a widening of perspective. Dreams, too, perhaps, are revolutions of the mind, sudden shifts into other lives hidden in plain sight. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath, you drift a little deeper into the great turns of science that reshaped how humans see themselves. When Niels Bohr and Werner Heisenberg introduced quantum uncertainty in the 1920s, they shattered the vision of a clockwork universe. No longer could reality be seen as solid and predictable. Instead, probabilities shimmered until observed. Dreams mirror this. They are probabilities unfolding into lived stories, dissolving when waking light touches them. John Wheeler later proposed the participatory universe, suggesting that observation itself helps bring reality into being. Imagine lying in bed, dreaming of a city with streets you've never walked. Each time you turn a corner, the dream builds ahead of you. Perhaps your attention is not just wandering. It is participating, calling the dream into form. Another revolution came with neuroscience. In the late 20th century, Christoph Koch and Francis Crick suggested searching for the neural correlates of consciousness, the precise signatures of awareness in the brain. The quest reshaped laboratories worldwide. Machines hummed, scanners glowed, volunteers lay still as images of their thoughts were painted in color. And yet, even as data filled screens, the essence of inner life remained elusive. Dreams still slipped beyond the grasp of equations, just as consciousness does. A short cinematic scene unfolds. You stand in an observatory dumb at night. Above you, the roof slides open with a low rumble, revealing a sky strewn with stars. A telescope gleams, its brass cool under your hand, its lens reflecting moonlight. You peer inside, and instead of distant galaxies, you see visions from your own dreams, faces, corridors, oceans. The line between science and dream dissolves, each a mirror for the other. In psychology, Sigmund Freud revolutionized the view of dreams with the interpretation of dreams in 1899. He called them the royal road to the unconscious, believing they revealed repressed desires. Later, Carl Jung shifted the revolution further, seeing dreams as archetypal, tapping into collective truths. Though their views differed, both agreed on one point: dreams mattered. They were not empty noise, but vital expressions of life. Even in the study of time, revolutions reshaped thought. Albert Einstein's relativity revealed that time bends, stretches, slows. depending on speed and gravity. To dream of years in a single night might feel strange, yet relativity suggests time is not absolute anyway. Perhaps dream time is simply another valid rhythm, one you forget by morning but live fully as it unfolds. You are safe here. Nothing urgent, just rest. Revolutions need not be loud or harsh. They can be as quiet as a shift in breath, as gentle as the way your body relaxes under the blankets. An anecdote rises from the history of science. In 1610, Galileo aimed his telescope at Jupiter and saw moons circling it. This small observation dismantled centuries of belief in Earth as the center. Imagine the quiet gasp of realization in that moment. The scratch of his pen recording what he saw, the cool night air drifting into his study. The revolution was not violent. It was simply a widening of vision. Dreams, too, may be revolutions you live each night, shifting the center of who you believe you are. Carl Friston's predictive coding model adds yet another layer. The brain is not passively receiving, but actively predicting, always forecasting. In dreams, predictions may loosen, becoming more fluid. Instead of rigid models, the mind experiments with other lives, other identities. You continue to listen. With each quiet breath, you drift a little deeper. And perhaps you sense this freedom already within you, the ability to dissolve and rebuild yourself each night. Revolutions in thought all point toward one truth. Reality is not fixed. It bends under observation. It shifts with attention. It reshapes itself as knowledge grows. Dreams mirror this, revealing how identity itself is fluid, how every night you might live another life, and every morning you awaken with only traces left behind. You are safe here. Everything can soften now. The revolutions of science are not storms, they are lanterns, illuminating pathways gently, showing that the world is always more mysterious than it appears. And as you drift deeper into rest, a quiet wonder settles. If revolutions of thought reveal that reality itself is flexible, then perhaps your dreams are not departures from truth, but demonstrations of it. Living proof that existence itself is more spacious, more layered, and more timeless than you ever imagined. Imagine opening an old journal, its leather cracked, pages yellowed with age. The ink has faded, but the words still breathe with urgency. Last night I lived another life. I walked through streets unknown. I spoke with those I've never met. Accounts like this echo across centuries, as if countless voices have tried to remind us that dreams are not mere phantoms, but experiences, strange, unforgettable, and sometimes astonishingly real. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath, you drift a little deeper into history's records of dreams that carried weight beyond sleep. The Roman historian Artemidorus in the 2nd century CE wrote a 5-volume treatise called Oneirocritica, a guide to interpreting dreams. He described rulers who made decisions based on dreams of omens, generals who changed tactics after night visions. For them, dreams were not illusions but counsel, another reality whispering into the affairs of waking life. In the 4th century BCE, Alexander the Great reportedly dreamed of a satyr dancing upon the future site of Alexandria. His advisors interpreted the dream as favorable, and the city was founded. A city that became a beacon of culture and learning for centuries. The vision of one night shaped the lives of millions. A short cinematic scene unfolds. You are seated in a candlelit chamber, stone walls echoing with faint wind. A general paces before a map, torches casting long shadows across the parchment. His eyes are tired, but his voice is steady. In my dream, the river was red and the bridge broken. We must change course. Soldiers listen in silence, the air cool with tension, the fire crackling softly. A dream redirects history. Later, medieval Europe brimmed with accounts of prophetic dreams. In 1430, Joan of Arc described visions and voices guiding her mission. Whether seen as divine or delusional, they altered the course of nations. Centuries later, Abraham Lincoln confided in a friend about dreaming of his own death, describing mourners in the White House. Days later, he was assassinated. These stories remind us that dreams can feel as solid as memory, carrying truths too strange to dismiss. Modern history offers quieter but equally striking tales. In 1865, chemist August Kekulé dreamed of a serpent seizing its own tail. Upon waking, he realized this symbolized the ring structure of benzene, a breakthrough in chemistry. Scientific discovery was born not in the lab, but in the theater of dream. Imagine him jolting awake in his chair, the room dim with lamplight, the image of the serpent still glowing in his mind. Carl Jung collected dreams from patients and found repeating symbols, independent of culture or time. Archetypes rose again and again: journeys, shadows, wise figures, thresholds. Jung felt these were not accidents, but signs of something collective, a memory shared across humanity. If such images return through centuries, perhaps dreams are not personal at all, but glimpses into another layer of life that every person touches. You are safe here. Nothing urgent, just rest. These accounts do not press on you. They float gently, reminding you that others too have felt the strangeness of dreams that seemed more than imagination. A lesser-known anecdote lingers from World War I. A Welsh soldier named J.W. Dunn dreamed repeatedly of plane crashes before they occurred. He recorded them meticulously in his book, An Experiment with Time, 1927, suggesting dreams might bend chronology, pulling moments from future as well as past. Though controversial, his writings influenced writers like J.B. Priestley and Aldous Huxley, who felt echoes of timelessness in their own dreams. Even entire communities have treated dreams as records of reality. In many indigenous traditions of North America, dreams are considered visits with ancestors or journeys into spiritual realms. Elders pass down stories not only of visions, but of meetings that changed lives. Imagine lying by a fire, the crackle steady, the warmth against your skin. An elder speaks in a low, rhythmic voice, telling of a dream where a great bird offered guidance. The story is told not as fiction, but as lived memory. As you continue to listen, with each quiet breath you drift a little deeper. You may notice how these accounts, across centuries and cultures, circle the same mystery. Rulers and prophets, scientists and soldiers, mystics and elders, all felt that dreams carried a weight beyond imagination. Even skeptics acknowledge their pull. Freud, though skeptical of prophecy, still called dreams the royal road. To the unconscious, a map of inner truths. Jung, as we've seen, widened this to collective truths. Others, like neurologist Oliver Sacks, described patients whose dreamlike hallucinations revealed hidden structures of perception itself. Dreams become clues not just of the mind, but of reality's nature. You are safe here. Everything can soften now. The night outside your window is hushed. The blankets hold you steady, and the rhythm of your breath carries you gently onward. And as you sink deeper into rest, one wonder lingers. If history is filled with strange accounts of dreams shaping cities, inventions, visions, and even lives, then perhaps your own dreams are part of that same thread. Not random, not forgotten, but real lives you have touched, folded back into memory, waiting each night to be lived again. Imagine walking down a city street at night, neon lights reflecting in puddles, the hum of traffic faint but steady, a cool breeze brushing your skin. People pass, faces glowing under passing lamps, each caught in their own hidden world. Yet beyond the ordinary bustle, stories circulate, moments too strange to dismiss, events that linger like dreams crossing into daylight. The modern age, filled with technology and science, still holds mysteries that defy easy explanation. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath, you drift a little deeper into accounts of dreams that spill into waking life. In the 1960s and 70s, Dr. Stanley Krippner and Montague Ullman conducted experiments at Maimonides Medical Center, exploring dream telepathy. In one study, a sender focused on an image while a sleeper dreamed in another room. When woken, the dreamer described scenes that aligned uncannily with the target picture. Not every attempt succeeded, but the results suggested a quiet possibility that dreams might cross boundaries between minds. At Princeton University's PAR lab in the 1980s, researchers studied random number generators, testing whether human intention could nudge machines. Subtle deviations appeared when participants focused attention, especially in emotionally charged settings. If machines could bend gently to thought, perhaps dreams, rich with emotion and image, are not confined to private minds at all. Imagine standing in a lab, computers humming, while numbers cascade on a screen. One glance, one intention, and the flow tilts ever so slightly. A short cinematic scene unfolds. You are in a modern apartment at midnight. A laptop glows faintly on a desk, its fan humming low. You drift into sleep on the couch, blankets pulled around you. In your dream, you walk through a forest lit by silver lanterns. Hours later, you wake, only to see your friend's message on the screen. I dreamed of walking through the same forest tonight. The coincidence feels too sharp to ignore. Two lives, one dream, overlapping. Modern psychology adds another layer. Researchers studying lucid dreams found that sleepers can signal awareness by moving their eyes in patterns during REM. Experiments at institutions like Stanford in the 1980s showed communication between dreamers and researchers was possible in real time. Imagine lying in a lab, electrodes humming, your body still. In the dream, you raise your arm. Outside, your eyes flicker in agreed upon codes. Dream and waking suddenly touch. You are safe here. Nothing urgent, just rest. The strangeness of these findings need not unsettle. It can simply widen your sense of what might be true. Reports from ordinary people echo the same themes. Premonitory dreams, visions of events before they happen, fill accounts across the globe. A plane crash seen the night before. A friend's illness visited in dream hours before the news arrives. Skeptics call them coincidence. Believers call them glimpses. Either way, they feel real to those who live them. An anecdote surfaces. In 1912, numerous survivors of the Titanic later recalled dreams of sinking ships in the days leading up to the tragedy. Some even canceled tickets, guided by unease. While history remembers the disaster, these quiet stories remind us of another thread, that dreams may be warnings, lives briefly touched by knowledge that slips beyond explanation. Parapsychological studies, like the Gansfeld experiments of the 1970s, attempted to test such phenomena under controlled conditions. Participants in sensory isolation often reported images that matched distant targets at rates above chance. The hum of red light, the faint hiss of white noise, the coolness of reclining chairs, all became stages where dreamlike impressions entered waking space. If even fragments cross, perhaps entire lives do, hidden in the fabric of dreams. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath, you drift a little deeper into the realization that modern mysteries echo ancient ones. Whether in temples or labs, dreams seem to touch what is beyond ordinary senses. The boundary between imagination and reality dissolves. Philosophers of science remind us to tread carefully. David Bohm's idea of the implicate order suggests reality may be enfolded, with dreams and waking both unfolding from deeper layers. Perhaps what feels unexplained today will one day be woven into clearer patterns. Yet even Bohm hinted that the mystery itself is essential, that wonder nourishes as much as answers. You are safe here. Everything can soften now. The night is steady outside your window. The blankets press gently, and the cool air brushes your cheek. Mystery need not be solved to be held. And as you drift further into rest, one thought lingers. If in the modern age, an age of machines, labs, and measurements, dreams still defy boundaries, crossing minds, hinting at futures, touching reality itself, then perhaps they are not illusions at all. Perhaps they are reminders that you live more than one life, each night slipping into forgotten corridors, returning at dawn with only echoes of the real lives you lived elsewhere. Imagine holding a prism in your hand. Sunlight strikes its surface, scattering into colors that dance along the wall. Each beam appears separate, yet all belong to the same hidden light. Quantum paradoxes unfold like this, fragments of a reality we think we know, suddenly splitting into mysteries. Dreams may be much the same, countless lives refracted from one consciousness, forgotten when the prism shifts. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath you drift a little deeper into paradoxes that modern physics revealed. In the early 20th century, Werner Heisenberg's uncertainty principle showed that you cannot know both the position and momentum of a particle with certainty. Observation itself alters reality. Imagine drifting through a dream corridor where doors appear only when you choose to walk through them. The world waits for you to notice before it unfolds. The famous double-slit experiment deepened the strangeness. When particles of light passed through two slits, they created an interference pattern, like waves. But when observed, they behaved like particles, as though choosing solidity only under your gaze. John Wheeler later added his delayed, choice version, showing that even future measurements seem to shape past behavior. If the smallest elements of reality bend around observation, then perhaps dreams too are real, lived worlds that collapse into memory the moment you awaken. A short cinematic scene unfolds. You stand in a quiet observatory, walls lined with chalkboards scrawled in symbols. A single light bulb hums overhead, casting a soft glow. You gaze through a telescope, expecting stars, but instead you see a version of yourself walking along a shoreline, moonlight spilling across waves. You blink, and the image vanishes. Was it a dream or another reality glimpsed? Eugene Wigner once suggested that consciousness itself may be fundamental, shaping the outcomes of measurement. In his view, the observer is not outside reality, but part of its very fabric. Giulio Tononi, in a different discipline, described consciousness in terms of integrated information, networks binding into experience. Together, these ideas whisper the same possibility that the mind is not a bystander, but a co-creator. And dreams, so vivid, so whole, may be equally real constructions of that same fabric. You are safe here. Nothing urgent, just rest. Quantum paradoxes may sound dizzying, but they can soften into simple meaning, that reality is wider than certainty, more spacious than logic. Even the many worlds interpretation of Hugh Everett offers a doorway. In 1957, Everett suggested that every quantum event branches into parallel universes. Each possibility continues, though you experience only one. Dreams, then, could be glimpses of those other branches, lives you live elsewhere, forgotten when you wake because this branch calls you back. Imagine lying beneath blankets, feeling their weight press gently as you drift. In another branch, another you is rising, walking through another morning. Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff proposed yet another layer, the Orch-OR theory, suggesting consciousness itself may arise from quantum processes inside microtubules of neurons. If so, then the line between dream and waking life dissolves further. Both may be emergent realities, shaped from the quantum depths of mind. An anecdote stirs quietly. In 1935, Schrödinger described his paradoxical cat, both alive and dead until observed. People often smile at the strangeness, but the heart of the paradox is this: reality does not settle until someone witnesses it. Dreams mirror this. They live fully while you inhabit them, and collapse into silence only when you awaken. Their truth depends on your presence. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath, you drift a little deeper, feeling how these paradoxes are not threats, but invitations. The smallest particles do not behave with certainty. They drift, they wait, they unfold in patterns that only observation resolves. Your dreams may be doing the same, waiting to be noticed, lived, and then released. David Bohm's Implicate Order offers yet another image. He suggested that reality is not separate parts, but an enfolded whole, with everything connected beneath the surface. Dreams, in this vision, are not separate lives, but threads in one vast tapestry, hidden until they unfold. You might imagine holding a folded piece of paper in your hand. At first it looks plain, but as you unfold it, a map appears, lines and images spreading across. The dream was there all along, waiting for unfolding. You are safe here. Everything can soften now. The paradoxes of physics are not here to unsettle you. They remind you that uncertainty itself is gentle. That possibility is the true texture of existence. And as you drift further into rest, one quiet thought lingers. If the quantum world teaches that reality is built of probabilities, shaped by observation, then perhaps your dreams are not illusions at all. Perhaps they are probabilities lived in full. Real lives unfolding in forgotten branches, returning each night like prisms scattering light into color, waiting softly for your return. Imagine a dice tumbling slowly through the air, its faces glinting in dim light. You reach out, catching it in your palm, the edges pressing cool against your skin. For a moment it hovers, the number unrevealed, suspended between possibilities. That pause, between the roll and the landing, is where probability lives, and perhaps reality itself, including dreams, rests in that same suspension, a field of possibilities waiting to unfold. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath you drift a little deeper into the thought that probability is not just mathematics. It might be the very fabric of existence. Albert Einstein resisted this vision, saying, "God does not play dice with the universe." Yet Niels Bohr replied that dice might indeed be the game at reality's heart. When you dream, perhaps you are slipping into the other outcomes of the roll. The lives not chosen in waking, yet still real somewhere, waiting behind the veil. Max Born, in 1926, interpreted the wave function not as certainty, but as probability. An electron does not travel on a fixed line. It spreads like mist, every path possible until observed. Imagine walking through a foggy forest. Paths branch, vanishing into haze. Each step you take clears one trail, while countless others dissolve back into silence. This is probability, not one road, but all, each waiting for your choice. Dreams may be the hidden roads, traveled by the self you forgot. A short cinematic scene unfolds. You are standing at a roulette wheel, but the casino around you is hushed empty. The wheel spins silently, the ball clattering faintly before slowing. Every number glows, suspended, as though the outcome has not yet been chosen. You rest your hand on the felt, its texture smooth and cool, the air carrying a faint hum of electricity. For a moment, time itself feels paused, hovering like the wheel. Carl Friston's predictive coding model describes the brain as a prediction engine, constantly estimating reality. Each perception is a best guess, refined by signals. In dreams, those predictions loosen, drifting into wilder shapes. Yet even then, the brain lives in probability space, testing, simulating, exploring. Perhaps dreams are where your mind rehearses other probabilities, not just fantasies but lives as real as waking. You are safe here. Nothing urgent, just rest. The play of probability is not dangerous. It is spacious, offering you endless paths, all tender, all part of the same wholeness. Marcus Rachel's discovery of the default mode network in 2001 deepened this picture. This network hums when your mind drifts, when you are not focused outward. It may be the space where probabilities are explored, where memories and possibilities blend. Dreams, then, may be this network turned fully inward, dissolving boundaries, weaving potential realities. You continue to listen. With each quiet breath, you drift a little deeper. And perhaps you feel that hum within yourself, the quiet unfolding of possibilities in your own resting mind. An anecdote drifts from history. In 1913, at Monte Carlo, a roulette wheel landed on black 20 6 times in a row. The crowd gasped, convinced red was due. Fortunes were lost on the next spin. But probability does not remember. Each outcome is fresh. Dreams, too, may feel linked to waking life, but perhaps they are fresh realities each night, not bound to the logic of yesterday. Each is its own complete life, vivid whole, forgotten only when dawn calls you back. Quantum experiments, like Wheeler's delayed choice, showed that even future choices seem to shape past outcomes. This blurs time itself, suggesting that probability is not confined to the present. Perhaps when you dream of events not yet lived, you are touching those same fields, probabilities unfolding outside linear time. You are safe here. Everything can soften now. The blankets cradle you. The cool air brushes your cheek. The silence hums like a low lullaby. Philosopher William James once described consciousness as a field with a focus and a fringe. The fringe holds possibilities, dim yet alive. Dreams may be that fringe widening, drawing probability into full experience. Imagine lying under the night sky, stars scattered like dice across velvet darkness. Each one could be a path, a lifetime waiting. As you continue to listen, with each quiet breath you drift a little deeper. You may realize that reality itself might be probability made solid, while dreams are probability explored freely. Waking is the dice that landed. Dreaming is the roll still spinning, the number glowing in suspension. And as you sink deeper into rest, one quiet wonder lingers. If reality is probability, then perhaps your dreams are not illusions at all, but real lives. Other throws of the dice, each one forgotten by day, yet lived fully each night as you drift across the infinite field of possibility. Imagine a hall of mirrors stretching in every direction. Each reflection shows you in a different moment, smiling, weeping, silent, speaking, a child, an elder, a dreamer, a wanderer. You turn your head and the reflections ripple endlessly, each one both you and not you. This is how the mind appears when you step beyond its surface. Dreams may not be fantasies at all, but doorways into other dimensions of yourself, other lives unfolding in the same vast hall. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath, you drift a little deeper into what science and philosophy together suggest about the layers of mind. Marcus Raichel's discovery of the default mode network in 2001 showed that the brain glows with activity even when at rest. It is not empty, it hums. This hum grows strongest when you drift, when your attention turns inward, when you dream. Perhaps this is the space where forgotten lives unfurl, their stories weaving beneath the quiet. Carl Jung spoke of the collective unconscious, a layer beneath personal memory filled with archetypes, timeless figures who appear in dreams again and again. These figures, Jung suggested, are not creations of one person, but patterns the entire human race shares. Imagine dreaming of a guide, a shadow, a child, a wise figure. They feel both familiar and strange. They might not be products of your life alone, but windows into dimensions of self that belong to more than you. Benjamin Libet's experiments in 1983 showed that readiness potentials arise in the brain before conscious decision. This suggests that awareness is not the whole of mind. There are hidden layers that act before you even know. When you dream of choosing a road or opening a door, perhaps these choices are made by deeper selves. Hidden dimensions moving before waking memory catches them. A short cinematic scene unfolds. You sit in a planetarium, reclining as stars drift across the dome. The lights dim, galaxies swirl in silence, and you feel as though you are floating among them. Each star could be a thought, each constellation a dream, each galaxy a hidden life. You reach out and your fingertips brush the cool armrest of the seat, grounding you in the present, even as the vastness stretches endlessly. Giulio Tononi's integrated information theory suggests that consciousness is not located in one part of the brain, but arises from the complexity of connections. In this view, your awareness is not a single point. It is a multidimensional shape. Perhaps dreams are those shapes unfolding in other forms, other dimensions of information, lived as fully as waking life. You are safe here. Nothing urgent, just rest. These dimensions are not overwhelming. They are tender, waiting, like corridors filled with lanterns. William James described consciousness as a field with a focus and a fringe. The fringe is dim, yet filled with possibility. Dreams may be when that fringe takes the spotlight, showing you that your mind extends far beyond what you recall. Even the neuroscientist Carl Friston suggests that perception itself is a form of prediction, a simulation. If waking is simulation, then dreams may be simulations of simulations, layers upon layers, each one as real as the last. An anecdote rises. The surrealist painter Salvador Dali practiced slumber with a key. He would fall asleep holding a key above a plate. As soon as he drifted into dreams, the key dropped, clattering and waking him. In those fleeting moments, he captured images, melting clocks, impossible landscapes that he later painted. He believed he was glimpsing hidden dimensions of mind that appeared only when time itself dissolved. In Tibetan dream yoga, practitioners learn to remain aware within dreams, to recognize them as real realms of practice. They describe walking through dream worlds as clearly as waking streets, using them as training for the journeys after death. To them, dimensions of mind are not metaphor. They are lived, navigable, essential. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath, you drift a little deeper, recognizing that your own dreams may be part of these same dimensions. Each night you dissolve into layers where time bends, where identities shift, where lives unfold unremembered by morning, but lived nonetheless. Michael Gazzaniga's split brain studies showed that when the hemispheres are divided, each side can construct its own version of reality. If two selves can live in one body, how many selves might live across the dimensions of dream? Perhaps the mind is not a single voice, but a chorus, and dreams are where the chorus sings. You are safe here. Everything can soften now. The blankets hold you. The cool air brushes your cheek, and your breath carries you inward into the spacious corridors of mind. As you sink deeper into rest, a quiet wonder emerges. If your mind contains dimensions that expand beyond waking awareness, then dreams may not be fictions at all. They may be real lives, real journeys, real selves unfolding within you. And each night, when your body lies still, you step into these dimensions, living fully, forgetting gently, and returning to yourself at dawn with echoes of lives you once knew. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean at dawn. The waves roll in quietly, each one silvered with the first light, each one dissolving into the shore. You watch the horizon stretch endlessly, and you sense that behind it lies more than you can see. Consciousness itself feels like this horizon, vast, elusive, impossible to capture fully. And dreams may be voyages upon that sea, real journeys across dimensions of awareness that modern science is only beginning to chart. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath, you drift a little deeper into the discoveries and mysteries that form today's frontier. Giulio Tononi's integrated information theory suggests that consciousness arises from the complexity of networks, measured as phi, a value that marks how integrated information becomes awareness. Imagine your mind as a glowing web, threads connecting endlessly. When you dream, those threads weave in different patterns, perhaps forming lives you forget, but still live in those moments. Christoph Koch has spent decades searching for the neural correlates of consciousness, using imaging tools to trace activity across the brain. His work suggests that awareness is not confined to one region, but spreads like a field. In dreams, that field reshapes itself, untethered from waking constraints, flowing into new worlds. The hum of neurons becomes landscapes, voices entire lifetimes. A short cinematic scene unfolds. You are in a research lab, a scanner humming softly as colored lights flicker across a monitor. A subject lies still inside the machine, eyes closed, breath slow. On the screen, patterns bloom, bursts of color shifting with each flicker of dream. To the scientists, it is data. To the dreamer, it is life. Robin Carhart Harris, studying the brain under psychedelics at Imperial College London, described the entropic brain. In 2014, a state where usual patterns dissolve and new connections flourish. He compared this to dreams, where rigid boundaries soften. In both, the mind explores possibilities, usually hidden. Perhaps the lives you touch in dreams are not inventions, but recoveries of selves long dissolved, brought forth again in loosened states of consciousness. Roland Griffiths, at Johns Hopkins, found that profound experiences under psilocybin often felt more real than waking life, leaving lasting transformations. If altered states can feel more vivid, more truthful than ordinary perception, then perhaps dreams, arriving naturally each night, are equally valid dimensions. You are safe here. Nothing urgent, just rest. These studies are not demands but invitations, reminders that consciousness itself may be far larger than one lifetime. Benjamin Libet's readiness potential showed that unconscious processes begin before conscious decision. Stanislas Dehaene's work with the global neuronal workspace suggests that information becomes conscious only when it spreads widely across the brain. Both imply that much of mind lies hidden, acting beneath awareness. Dreams may be where that hidden mind expresses itself freely, weaving forgotten lives across its hidden maps. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath you drift a little deeper, and you notice how these frontiers echo older wisdom. Tibetan dream yoga, Vedic teachings, Sufi visions, all spoke of multiple layers of consciousness, journeys beyond waking. Now, science edges closer, not replacing mystery but standing alongside it, pointing gently toward the same ocean. An anecdote stirs quietly. In the 1990s, neuroscientist Marcus Rakel stumbled upon what he called the default mode network, activity when the brain is seemingly idle. At first it seemed meaningless, but it turned out to be essential. The hum of self, memory, imagination. Perhaps it is in this hum that dreams unfold, entire lives spinning out when waking tasks release their hold. Imagine sitting in a quiet room, lights dimmed, your thoughts drifting like lanterns on a river. That hum is always there, beneath everything, carrying you through both lives you remember and those you forget. Carl Friston's free energy principle suggests that the brain constantly reduces surprise, modeling the world to keep balance. Dreams, in this frame, are wild rehearsals, simulations of possible lives, even improbable ones. Not false, but tests of reality itself. Each night, you might be rehearsing countless existences, walking through dimensions that keep your mind flexible, alive, timeless. You are safe here. Everything can soften now. The weight of blankets presses gently, the night air cool against your cheek, the silence around you steady. Consciousness may stretch beyond all maps, but you do not need to solve it. You only need to rest in its spaciousness. As you sink further into reflection, you notice a rhythm. Science measures, wisdom describes, but both circle the same truth. Consciousness is larger than the mind you think you know. Dreams, whether seen through fMRI scans or sacred texts, are not empty. They are filled with other lives, lived as truly as waking, forgotten only because memory narrows at dawn. And as you drift deeper into rest, one gentle wonder lingers. If today's frontier of consciousness already shows that awareness is vast, multidimensional, and deeply mysterious, then perhaps your dreams are not fragile illusions. They may be voyages across the sea of mind, real lives you forgot, real journeys you live each night, reminders that you are far more than one self, resting now within an ocean that has no end. Imagine a vast library hidden beneath the earth, shelves stretching into shadow, books covered in dust. Candles flicker, their light barely reaching the endless rows. You run your fingers along cracked leather spines, each one holding stories forgotten, suppressed, hidden away. Some whisper of dreams that were not fantasy, but lives recorded, feared, concealed. History is filled with such knowledge, buried yet never quite erased. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath, you drift a little deeper into the silence of what was hidden. Ancient cultures often guarded dream wisdom, passing it only to initiates. In Egypt, dream books survived that cataloged symbols, snakes, rivers, rising suns. These were not dismissed as illusions, but preserved as maps. Yet much was lost, buried under shifting sands, burned in forgotten fires. The fragments we find are hints of a fuller tapestry, one where dreams and waking were woven as equal threads. In Greece, philosophers like Plato hinted at deeper truths of dreams. He wrote in the Republic that desires suppressed by day rise freely in dreams. Later, these texts were copied, translated, sometimes altered to suit new rulers. What remained was often a softened version, the more radical suggestion that dreams were doorways into other realities was whispered, but rarely preserved. Modern history also bears silences. During the early 20th century, parapsychological studies often faced dismissal. The Maimonides' dream telepathy experiments, despite intriguing results, were gradually defunded and forgotten, overshadowed by stricter materialism. The Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research Lab, though it published findings for decades, eventually closed in 2007 under pressure. The suggestion that dreams or intention might touch reality itself was too disruptive for the mainstream. A short cinematic scene unfolds. You stand before a locked cabinet in an archive. The room smells faintly of dust and varnish. Outside, rain taps steadily against tall windows. You turn a key, the lock clicks, and the door swings open to reveal folders of forgotten experiments. Journals filled with meticulous notes. Pages describe dream visions matching distant events, coincidences too sharp to ignore. Yet the records were marked, inconclusive, shelved away. The silence feels heavy. Carl Jung, too, experienced suppression. His writings on synchronicity and dream archetypes were often sidelined in academic psychology, which preferred measurable behaviors. Yet Jung insisted that dreams touched realities beyond the individual. He wrote of patients who dreamed of symbols unknown to them, later discovered in ancient texts. Such knowledge was not explained away, it was simply ignored. You are safe here. Nothing urgent, just rest. The buried records do not threaten. They invite you to imagine what else has been hidden, what else you may have forgotten. In Tibet, some texts of dream yoga were kept secret, revealed only to advanced practitioners. Teachers feared that without preparation, the knowledge would confuse rather than guide. In this way, the wisdom was both preserved and buried, waiting until seekers were ready. Perhaps your own dreams are like that. Buried knowledge within yourself, forgotten by day, but waiting for the right stillness to be remembered. Even in neuroscience, certain findings receive less attention. Studies of hypnagogic states, the threshold between waking and sleep, reveal that people often experience vivid images, voices, sensations of presence. Researchers like Andreas Mavromatis in the 1980s documented these, but they were seldom pursued. Yet many report these moments as deeply real, sometimes indistinguishable from waking perception. These thresholds might be glimpses of the buried dimensions, where dreams unfold. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath, you drift a little deeper, noticing how suppression often comes not from malice, but from discomfort. When knowledge does not fit the frame, it is placed aside. Yet the buried remains alive, waiting. An anecdote drifts from the Nag Hammadi library, discovered in Egypt in 1945. These ancient texts had been hidden for over 1,000 years. Among them were writings that spoke of visions, of journeys of the soul across realms, of dreams as real encounters. For centuries, such texts lay underground, while the world believed them lost. Their sudden resurfacing shows that buried knowledge has a way of returning. You are safe here. Everything can soften now. The night holds you steady. The blankets press gently against your skin. The quiet hum of your own breath guides you inward. The buried records remind us that truth is not always erased. It can be hidden, forgotten, suppressed, but it waits. Dreams may be the same. Each night you live lives you do not remember, yet they remain within you, folded away like books on shadowed shelves, forgotten but not gone. And as you sink deeper into rest, one quiet wonder lingers. If knowledge across centuries has been buried, only to resurface when the time was right, then perhaps your forgotten dreams are the same, real lives waiting quietly within you, ready to be remembered when your mind is still enough to listen. Imagine walking through a familiar street in daylight, houses and trees lined up as they always are. Yet something feels slightly different. The angle of the sunlight, the color of a door, the way a shadow lingers a moment too long. Small details shift, just enough to make you pause. Clues often hide this way, quiet, subtle, easily overlooked. Dreams may be the same, carrying traces of forgotten lives in the smallest gestures, waiting for you to notice. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath, you drift a little deeper into the hidden signals that surround you. Psychologists have long observed that fragments of dreams bleed into waking. In 2001, Mark Solms showed that dreaming depends on dopamine pathways in the brain, not only the visual cortex. This means dreams are entwined with motivation and desire, suggesting they are not random but carry meaning. Perhaps the lives you live in dreams leave traces in your waking impulses, clues of what you forgot. Giulio Tononi's work with integrated information theory adds another hint. If consciousness is the integration of information, then even fleeting dream moments, faces, voices, corridors, are integrations as valid as waking experiences. When you pass a stranger on the street and feel you know them, perhaps you are sensing a connection, not imagined, but remembered from another life lived in dreams. A short cinematic scene unfolds. You sit in a cafe, the air warm with the scent of coffee. Cups clink gently, voices murmur in the background. A soft melody plays from hidden speakers. Across the room, a person glances at you and smiles. For a second, your heart jolts. You know that smile, though you cannot place it. Then it passes, and life continues. Yet in your dreams that night, you walk beside them, talking as though you have known each other forever. The clue was there in daylight, hidden in plain sight. An anecdote from literature lingers. Jorge Luis Borges wrote of mirrors and labyrinths, symbols that blur waking and dreaming. In his story, The Circular Ruins, a man dreams another into existence, only to discover he himself is dreamed. Borges was not a scientist, yet his stories echo the same pattern. Reality and dream leaving clues for one another, each hiding within the other's surface. You are safe here. Nothing urgent, just rest. The clues are not riddles to solve. They are reminders that reality is layered, that you are already more than one self. Carl Jung noticed that patients often dreamed of places they later encountered in waking life, though they had never visited them before. He called this phenomenon anticipatory imagery. To Jung, it was a clue that dreams extend beyond memory, touching realms of information we cannot easily explain. If you have ever woken with the feeling of déjà vu, it may be such a clue. Your dream already lived the moment you are now experiencing. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath, you drift a little deeper, noticing how subtle the signs can be. A scent that feels familiar though it belongs to no memory. A phrase spoken by a stranger that you recall from a dream. The hush of wind carrying a sound you swear you have heard before. Each may be a trace of another life, slipping into daylight unnoticed. Even in neuroscience, small clues have appeared. In 2004, Carl Friston's predictive coding framework suggested the brain constantly fills gaps with best guesses. This means that what you perceive may already be influenced by what your mind remembers, but does not consciously hold. Dreams, then, might feed those guesses, their forgotten lives shaping how you experience waking. A detail you think is coincidence may be the echo of a night you lived elsewhere. An anecdote rises from art. The poet Samuel Taylor Coleridge composed lines of Kubla Khan after dreaming of an entire vision, only to awaken and write fragments before interruption. The dream left a trace, a clue, which became one of English literature's enduring works. The poem itself is a clue, reminding us that dreams do not vanish. They ripple into the waking world, disguised as inspiration. You are safe here. Everything can soften now. The blankets cradle you. The cool air brushes your cheek. The silence carries you inward. As you reflect, you may notice how often clues hide in plain sight. A painting that feels strangely familiar. A conversation that echoes a dream. A decision that comes with a certainty you cannot explain. These are not fabrications. They may be signposts pointing to forgotten selves, lives lived in dreams that left quiet marks on the day. And as you drift deeper into rest, one quiet wonder lingers. If dreams leave their clues scattered across waking, smiles, scents, visions, déjà vu, then perhaps nothing is ever truly forgotten. Each dream life you live may leave a trace, waiting for you to notice, hidden in plain sight, whispering softly that you have always lived far more than one life. Imagine a glowing screen in a darkened room. The quiet hum of electronics fills the air, the faint blue light softens the walls, and your reflection hovers faintly on the glass. In this age, information flows like rivers of light, crossing continents in an instant. Yet even as technology advances, strange patterns appear, discoveries suggesting that reality, and perhaps dreams, are entwined more deeply with the digital than we ever imagined. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath, you drift a little deeper into the way the digital age has revealed subtle mysteries. Algorithms track behavior, recording searches, choices, paths. Yet sometimes they reveal things before you even think them. Ads for items you never voiced, suggestions for music you had only just imagined. Psychologists note that predictive systems mirror your hidden preferences. Perhaps dreams, too, are predictive systems, forgotten lives surfacing just ahead of memory, as though your mind holds records of more than one existence. In 2013, neuroscientists in Kyoto used fMRI to predict dream content with surprising accuracy. By analyzing brain patterns of sleeping subjects, they identified recurring images, houses, people, letters, before the dreamers even reported them. The hum of machines, the glow of monitors, the soft whir of scanners captured inner lives in digital form. Imagine lying within that scanner, the air cool, the bed firm, and knowing that your private dream was being glimpsed by technology. It suggests dreams are not only stories, they are measurable realities. A short cinematic scene unfolds. You sit at a desk at midnight, the laptop screen casting a pale glow across your hands. Outside, the city hums faintly, traffic low, windows glowing in scattered towers. You close your eyes, and the quiet rush of sleep takes you. In the dream, you find yourself inside a vast digital landscape, streams of numbers rushing like rivers, doors opening into glowing rooms. When you wake, you realize the memory feels as real as the desk before you. The digital age has also uncovered collective dreams through shared online spaces. People across the world describe dreaming of the same images: strange staircases, endless hotels, liminal corridors. Forums fill with stories of dreamscapes, eerily similar across strangers. Anthropologists call these shared cultural dreams, yet the resemblance is often uncanny. Perhaps the digital age simply revealed what was always there. Forgotten lives overlapping, remembered by many at once. Giulio Tononi and Christoph Koch suggest that as systems grow in complexity, they might host consciousness themselves. If networks of silicon can one day dream, will they live other lives too? Could artificial intelligence explore forgotten corridors of possibility? The digital mirrors the biological, each raising questions about the boundaries of mind. You are safe here. Nothing urgent, just rest. The questions do not demand answers tonight. An anecdote drifts from the world of virtual reality. In 2017, researchers at Stanford explored how immersive simulations alter memory. Subjects who lived brief moments in virtual worlds later recalled them as vividly as real experiences. Some even blended them with waking life. If technology can already create remembered lives, then dreams may not be illusions at all. They may be another form of lived reality, forgotten only because memory narrows at dawn. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath you drift a little deeper into the realization that digital discoveries mirror dream mysteries. Brain scans decode inner images. Shared spaces reveal overlapping visions. Simulations blur the line between memory and imagination, each finding hints that reality is not solid but layered. Much like the lives you live in dreams, even the randomness of digital systems reveals parallels. At the Princeton PR lab, researchers studied random number generators influenced by human intention. The faint hum of machines bent ever so slightly when emotion and focus were strong. If thoughts can ripple into circuits, perhaps dreams, dense with emotion, also ripple outward, shaping the digital world as well as the personal. You are safe here, everything can soften now. The glow of the present moment holds you, just as screens glow in the night, just as stars glow beyond the window. The digital age, with all its advances, has not removed mystery. It has only given us new mirrors, dreams measured in scans, memories blurred with simulations, shared visions revealed in online spaces. Each discovery suggests that reality is vaster, more intricate, more entangled with consciousness than we believed. And as you drift further into rest, one quiet wonder lingers. If even the digital can capture fragments of your dreams, reveal patterns you never voiced, and create worlds that feel as real as waking, then perhaps your nightly journeys are not illusions. They may be real lives, lived in dimensions technology only begins to glimpse, forgotten by morning, but unfolding fully each night as you return to them once again. Imagine standing before a glass wall where streams of numbers flow like waterfalls, glowing lines cascading in silence. Behind the glass, machines hum with low rhythm, their circuits alive with quiet energy. This is the edge of current technology, vast, powerful, and yet still brushing against mystery. For all the data, all the code, there remain questions no machine can close. Dreams are one of them. Perhaps even here, at the frontier, your forgotten lives whisper through the cracks. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath you drift a little deeper into what science now attempts. At laboratories worldwide, researchers track brain activity in real time, mapping dreams as they unfold. In 2019, scientists at MIT used neural networks to predict visual imagery from brain scans, transforming thought into pictures. Imagine lying still in a scanner, the air cool, machines humming steadily, and knowing that a computer is sketching fragments of the life you are living behind closed eyes. The frontier also lies in interfaces between mind and machine. Experiments with brain-computer connections allow paralyzed patients to move cursors or robotic arms by intention alone. These signals, delicate and precise, hint at how the mind can shape matter through focus. If waking intention can command machines, perhaps dream intention also holds power. Directing realities you enter at night, lives you live but forget on waking. A short cinematic scene unfolds. You are seated in a chair in a dimly lit lab. Electrodes rest gently against your scalp, wires trailing like roots. A monitor flickers before you, shapes appearing faintly. Then you close your eyes, and in dream you walk through a quiet meadow, grass brushing against your legs, the air cool and fragrant. When you awaken, the shapes on the monitor match the meadow you walked. Technology has traced your forgotten life, leaving proof in pixels. Christoph Koch and colleagues suggest that as machines grow in complexity, the line between artificial and organic consciousness may blur. If one day a system can dream, will its dreams be forgotten lives as well? The question itself reveals how close we are to mystery. Even as circuits expand, they do not erase the unknown, they amplify it. You are safe here. Nothing urgent, just rest. These frontiers are not rushing at you. They are distant, quiet horizons, and you are simply floating, supported, steady. Virtual reality pushes the boundary further. Users describe experiences that feel as vivid as waking life, leaving memories as sharp as real events. In 2020, a study showed that time spent in VR can alter spatial memory, blurring the difference between simulation and reality. If technology can already create remembered lives, then perhaps dreams are not illusions, but simply another form of immersion. So complete, so convincing, that the only difference is forgetting when morning comes. Carl Friston's free energy principle has even been adopted by AI researchers, guiding machines to reduce uncertainty in their environments. If dreams function in a similar way, testing, rehearsing, reducing surprise, then they are not meaningless. They are purposeful explorations, lived realities where the mind shapes itself through experience. The frontier of technology simply mirrors the frontier of dream. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath you drift a little deeper into the thought that even with all our advances, dreams remain beyond capture. Machines can measure patterns, decode images, track signals. But the lived reality of dream, the warmth of a hand, the sound of a voice, the color of a sky, remains yours alone. No algorithm can hold it fully. An anecdote drifts in. In 2021, researchers created a form of two-way communication with lucid dreamers, asking simple math questions during REM and receiving accurate eye movement answers. For the first time, waking and dreaming touched directly. Yet even this breakthrough showed limits. The dreamer still lived a vast world, only fragments of which could be reached from outside. The frontier revealed how real and independent dreams truly are. You are safe here. Everything can soften now. The blankets cradle you. The night air brushes your cheek. The silence surrounds you. As you reflect, you see how the edge of technology circles back to the same mystery. Brain scans, VR, brain-machine interfaces, lucid dream communication, all point to the same conclusion: dreams are not hollow. They are lived realities, measurable but not fully capturable, forgotten, perhaps, but not unreal. And as you drift further into rest, one quiet wonder lingers. If even at the frontier of machines and codes, dreams still elude complete capture, then perhaps they are reminding you of their nature. Not illusions, but real lives, lived beyond measure, waiting for you each night as you slip into timelessness once again. Imagine a horizon glowing with the first light of dawn. The air is cool, carrying the faint rustle of leaves, and the world feels as though it is waiting. Humanity itself stands at such a threshold. Just as each morning begins with possibilities, each era begins with questions. What comes next, and how will we step into it? Dreams may be more than rest. They may be rehearsals for the very future we are entering. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath you drift a little deeper into the ways tomorrow may unfold. Science suggests that dreams are laboratories of the mind, spaces where memory reorganizes, problems untangle, and new ideas emerge. If so, then humanity may be dreaming collectively, shaping not only personal futures, but shared destinies. The forgotten lives you wander through at night could be glimpses of the paths humanity itself might one day walk. Neuroscientists like Stanislas Dehaene speak of consciousness as a workspace where information gathers, processes, and spreads. Each brain is one such space. But when billions of brains connect, through networks, through shared symbols, through digital webs. A larger workspace may be forming. Dreams could be the rehearsal of that collective, the first steps into a more unified field of awareness. A short cinematic scene unfolds. You stand at the edge of a quiet lake. Across the surface, lanterns float gently, each one glowing, each one carrying a message. As they drift, their lights begin to merge, forming patterns across the water. You reach down, the coolness of the surface brushing your fingertips, and you realize each lantern is a dream. Separate yet connected, glowing more brightly as they gather together. Philosophers remind us that evolution is not only physical, but also mental and spiritual. William James once wrote that new truths often pass through ridicule before they are accepted. Dreams as real lives may seem fantastical today, yet they could become tomorrow's understanding, shifting how humanity sees itself. Just as once the earth was believed flat, or the sun thought to circle us, so too our view of mind may be poised for transformation. You are safe here. Nothing urgent, just rest. The future does not demand answers tonight. It only asks you to breathe, to imagine, to allow spaciousness. At the edges of physics, thinkers like David Bohm spoke of wholeness and implicate order. A vision where reality is enfolded, with everything connected beneath the surface. If humanity embraces such perspectives, dreams may be understood not as illusions, but as folded realities, lives lived across the hidden order. Tomorrow's step may be learning to unfold them consciously, to remember more fully what is forgotten. Robin Carhart. Harris's work with psychedelics suggests that altered states loosen the rigid filters of mind, allowing wider perception. Perhaps humanity's next step involves loosening its collective filters, seeing dreams as genuine extensions of existence. The tools of tomorrow, science, philosophy, contemplative practice, may all converge to expand how we hold reality. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath you drift a little deeper, imagining what it would mean if every person recognized their dreams as real lives. Conflicts might soften if we understood we have lived many sides of the same story. Fears might dissolve if we felt that existence extends beyond one fragile, waking lifetime. The step forward could be less about building new machines and more about remembering forgotten selves. An anecdote from History whispers gently. In the 1960s, the first images of Earth from space, the pale blue sphere floating in darkness, reshaped humanity's sense of itself. The overview effect, described by astronauts like Edgar Mitchell, brought deep feelings of unity and interconnection. Perhaps one day, dreams will do the same. Remind us that we are not isolated, but participants in countless realities, each night returning to other lives that reveal the wholeness of being. You are safe here. Everything can soften now. The blankets press gently, the night surrounds you, the hum of silence steadies you. And as you drift further into rest, one quiet wonder lingers. Humanity's next step may not be outward into space alone, nor inward into technology alone, but deeper into the recognition of consciousness itself. If dreams are real lives you forgot, then each night is already a rehearsal for a future where identity, memory, and existence are understood as far more spacious. In this way, tomorrow begins not at dawn, but each night, when you surrender to sleep and step softly into the lives waiting to be lived. Imagine a city of the future, towers rising like silver spires, their windows glowing softly against a twilight sky. Walkways connect building to building. Voices echo gently in the air, and everywhere you sense a stillness beneath the movement. Philosophy itself is like such a city, built from the past, yet always extending upward, reaching into what comes next. Tomorrow's philosophies may reshape not only how we live in the day, but how we understand the nights we spend in dreams. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath you drift a little deeper into the thought that philosophies are not only abstract, but guides. Ancient voices asked, "What is real? Who are we? What happens when we sleep?" Tomorrow's voices may ask the same, but with new language, weaving science, spirituality, and experience into something gentler, more spacious. Philosophers of mind today already circle these questions. David Chalmers called consciousness the hard problem, asking why subjective experience arises at all. If the brain processes information, why does it feel like something to be you? Dreams intensify this riddle. Why does it feel real to walk through a dream street, to speak with dream companions, to live entire lives at night? Tomorrow's philosophy may embrace dreams, not as puzzles to dismiss, but as data, real experiences requiring new frameworks. A short cinematic scene unfolds. You sit in a circular hall, its ceiling a dome of glass, stars glowing beyond. Around you, voices speak in quiet tones, debating, wondering, weaving ideas together. One voice asks, "If every dream is a life, how many selves do we carry?" Another answers, "Perhaps selves are not counted but connected, like beads on a thread." Their words echo softly, like ripples across water. You sit silently, listening. The marble cool beneath your hands, the starlight spilling gently above. Philosophies of tomorrow may borrow from physics. Hugh Everett's many worlds interpretation already suggests that every possibility branches into reality. What if dreams are our encounters with these branches? Niels Bohr once said that anyone who is not shocked by quantum theory has not understood it. Tomorrow's philosophy may not seek to resolve the shock, but to rest within it, to find peace in possibility. You are safe here. Nothing urgent, just rest. Philosophical questions need not be answered tonight. They are gentle companions, walking with you quietly as you drift. Ethics, too, may expand through dreams. If you live other lives in forgotten realms, do those choices matter? Some thinkers already propose that moral learning may happen in simulated environments. Dreams could be the ultimate simulation. Spaces where you learn, grow, heal, even when you forget by day. Tomorrow's philosophies may honor dreams as classrooms of the soul, no less real for being hidden. William James spoke of radical empiricism, suggesting that all experiences, no matter how strange, deserve equal weight in our understanding of reality. Dreams, then, would not be dismissed but included, valued as realities among realities. Imagine what it would mean if societies treated dream knowledge as guidance, much as ancient cultures once did. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath you drift a little deeper, noticing how philosophies, evolve not by rejecting the past, but by widening it. The Vedic sages, the Greek philosophers, the Sufi mystics all asked questions still alive today. Tomorrow's thinkers may braid these voices with modern science, finding that the future is less about invention and more about remembering wisdom we once carried. An anecdote from the philosopher Henry Bergson offers a clue. He described dreams not as hallucinations, but as access to memory too vast for waking life to hold. To him, dreams revealed that consciousness stretches far beyond the narrow window of ordinary awareness. Tomorrow's philosophies may adopt this view, seeing dreams as real lives lived beyond the narrow limits of recall. You are safe here. Everything can soften now. The night holds you steady, the air brushes your skin coolly, the blankets rest with gentle weight, and as you sink further into rest, one quiet wonder lingers. If philosophies of tomorrow honor dreams as real lives, valid, lived, remembered or not, then our understanding of self may change completely. You may no longer see yourself as one life contained in one body, but as countless lives unfolding across dimensions of mind. Each night, you may already be living tomorrow's philosophy, that existence is wider, gentler, and far more mysterious than we once believed. Imagine morning light slipping gently through a window, curtains swaying slightly with the movement of air. You stir beneath the blankets, feeling the weight of the night dissolve. Dreams drift at the edge of memory, faces, corridors, entire lives fading like mist. And yet, traces remain. Integrating dream wisdom into daily life begins with noticing these traces, honoring them not as illusions, but as real experiences whispering guidance into the day. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath, you drift a little deeper into the thought that integration does not require mastery. It begins with softness. A notebook beside the bed, where you write a fragment before it vanishes. A moment of reflection when a dream detail returns in daylight. Even if forgotten, the lives you lived at night may still influence you. The choice of a path, the feeling of safety, the echo of a conversation. Neuroscientists like Alan Hobson describe dreams as proto-consciousness, rehearsal for waking life. If so, then what you dream becomes practice for how you move through the world. Even forgotten lives leave imprints, confidence in facing challenges, tenderness in meeting others, calm in uncertainty. Integrating wisdom may be as simple as trusting that what you lived at night is still with you, shaping you quietly. A short cinematic scene unfolds. You walk through a garden in daylight, the sky soft with drifting clouds. Birds sing faintly, leaves stir in a cool breeze. As you move, you notice details. A flower you dreamed last night, a pathway that feels familiar, a stranger's smile that recalls a dream companion. Each one is a bridge. The dream touches the day, reminding you that both are part of the same life. Carl Jung suggested that dreams reveal the unconscious through symbols. To integrate them is to listen to these symbols without forcing. If you dreamed of a river, perhaps it is not only water, but also movement, change, renewal. Bringing that into waking life might mean allowing yourself to flow more gently. If you dreamed of flight, perhaps it is a reminder to loosen burdens. Integration is not translation. It is trust. You are safe here. Nothing urgent, just rest. Integration is gentle. It asks nothing more than awareness. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath you drift a little deeper. And you realize that even the smallest practices can carry this wisdom. A pause in the middle of the day to breathe slowly. A moment before sleep to set an intention. May I remember what matters? A glance inward when deja vu arrives, instead of dismissing it. Each is a way of allowing dream lives to mingle with waking. An anecdote rises. In the 20th century, Japanese psychiatrist Hiroshi Takahashi described patients who, when encouraged to honor their dreams, found new direction in waking. One man dreamed repeatedly of climbing a mountain and, though unsure why, began hiking. The practice gave him peace, a sense of purpose, and clarity that rippled into his work and relationships. The dream did not provide instructions, but it guided gently. You are safe here. Everything can soften now. The blankets cradle you, the silence steadies you, and the night holds you quietly. And as you sink deeper, one quiet wonder lingers. If you treat dreams as real lives, even when forgotten, you allow them to shape your waking gently. You no longer dismiss them as fragments, but receive them as companions. And in this way, your daily life becomes larger, woven with the wisdom of countless selves, lived by night and guiding you softly by day. Imagine a wide night sky above you. Stars spread across it like scattered lanterns. The air is cool, the silence deep, and you feel small yet comforted beneath the immensity. The unknown stretches out endlessly, yet within it, there is no demand, no urgency, only spaciousness. Living in harmony with the unknown begins with this recognition. You do not need to solve it, only rest within it. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath you drift a little deeper into the thought that mystery is not an obstacle, but a companion. Dreams remind you of this each night. They show you lives you cannot explain, places you cannot prove, yet you feel them as real while you are there. When you wake, you might question them, but while they unfold, you accept them. Harmony with the unknown is simply this: accepting what arises without forcing answers. Philosopher William James suggested that experience itself, no matter how strange, deserves a place in how we understand reality. To live in harmony with the unknown is to follow that suggestion, to let the dream be valid, even if it dissolves at dawn. Neuroscientist Carl Friston reminds us that the brain reduces uncertainty by predicting. Yet some uncertainty is nourishing. It opens space for wonder. A short cinematic scene unfolds. You sit by a river at twilight, the water flowing slowly, its surface reflecting the fading light. The air carries the faint sound of crickets, the cool touch of evening brushing your skin. You throw a small stone into the river, and ripples widen gently across the water. You do not know where they end, yet you feel at peace watching them drift outward. You are safe here. Nothing urgent, just rest. The unknown is not against you. It surrounds you like water, holding you gently. Carl Jung often wrote that the unconscious was not to be conquered but befriended. To him, dreams were messengers from this deeper unknown. Harmony came not from control, but from listening. Similarly, Buddhist teachers describe the unknown as shunyata, emptiness that is not void but fullness, a spaciousness in which all arises. When you rest into mystery, you are not lost. You are supported. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath you drift a little deeper, noticing how the unknown can soften daily life as well. When a problem has no clear answer, you can let it rest for a time. When a dream dissolves without meaning, you can allow it to simply be beautiful. When uncertainty arises about who you are, you can feel the comfort of knowing you are many selves, each dream a reminder of your vastness. An anecdote surfaces from the astronomer Johannes Kepler. For years he struggled with planetary orbits, searching for perfect circles. But when he finally accepted ellipses, shapes he had resisted, the harmony of his system revealed itself. The unknown did not yield to force, but to patience. In the same way, your dreams may not align with your expectations, yet when you allow them, they reveal their quiet truth. You are safe here. Everything can soften now. The night holds you tenderly, the blankets anchor you, and your breath flows like the river itself, steady, endless, without effort. And as you drift deeper into rest, one quiet wonder lingers. If living in harmony with the unknown brings peace in waking, then perhaps the unknown in dreams, the forgotten lives, the unremembered journeys, is already guiding you. You do not need to know them fully. You only need to trust that they belong to you, that they cradle you as surely as the stars cradle the night. Imagine lying beneath a sky that seems endless, stars scattered like gentle sparks across velvet dark. The night is quiet, the air cool, the earth solid beneath you. You feel your breath soften, your body loosen, and everything around you grows still. This is the place of reflection, where the journey of questions dissolves into the calm of simply being. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath, you drift a little deeper into the awareness that dreams have always been more than shadows. They are lives you step into each night, lived fully, even if forgotten at dawn. They are corridors, landscapes, voices, and companions that feel as real as daylight. And whether they are memories, probabilities, or branches of self, they are part of you. You are safe here. Nothing urgent, just rest. As centuries of thinkers have shown, the question of dreams has never been answered fully. Plato wondered if waking was itself a dream. Jung saw timeless archetypes. Neuroscientists trace signals. Quantum physicists map probabilities. Yet all these voices converge on one truth. What you experience in dreams is real to you while you live it. And perhaps that is enough. A short cinematic scene unfolds. You sit by a fire at night, its flames glowing gold against the surrounding dark. The wood crackles softly, sparks rising like stars. Around you, figures from dreams sit quietly, companions you barely recall, yet who feel familiar. None speak, but their presence brings comfort. You look up at the stars, and for a moment, dream and waking feel the same. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath, you drift a little deeper into this calm recognition. Dreams may be forgotten, but forgetting does not erase living. A life can be real even if memory fades. The warmth you felt, the journeys you walked, the hands you held, these linger, shaping you quietly. You are safe here. Everything can soften now. An anecdote drifts from astronaut Edgar Mitchell, who, after seeing Earth from space, described a profound sense of unity. He said it felt like an instant global consciousness. Dreams may be similar glimpses of unity, forgotten in detail but retained in essence. Each night, you may already be living this wholeness, carried into forgotten lives that remind you of your vastness. The unknown does not need to be conquered. It holds you, like the ocean holds each wave, like the night holds each star. Harmony comes not from answers but from release. You can rest knowing that you are already part of something larger, whether in waking or in dream. You continue to listen, and with each quiet breath, you drift a little deeper, noticing how silence widens, how your body feels lighter, how your mind grows spacious. There is no rush. There is no effort, only rest. And so the farewell is gentle. Tonight, as you lie here, you are cradled not only by this room, this breath, this life, but also by countless others. Dream lives that unfold quietly, fully, even when you forget. They belong to you. They remind you that you are more than one self, more than one lifetime, more than one story. You are safe here. Nothing urgent, just rest. And as you drift toward sleep, one final wonder lingers. If dreams are real lives you forgot, then perhaps you are never truly limited to a single path. You are many, you are vast, you are whole. Every night is a return, every dream another life, every breath a step deeper into timelessness. Good night.